Welcome back to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Foreman, and we have the Channel Islands new flyer here. If you go to the CI website and you're reading up on this board, it says that the new flyer was designed for tricky conditions. What are tricky conditions? Well, if basically tricky conditions are any conditions that aren't featured on an international video. So if you're going down to your local beach and you're going surfing, it's probably going to be tricky at one point or another. But just basically a shortboard that's going to be more forgiving, paddle faster, catch more waves, and have more glide to the board, more built-in drive to the board. So basically, in order to do that, what they did with this board, the Flyer, I mean, it's been Channel Islands' best-selling shortboard since the original Flyer 1, and there's been several reincarnations of the Flyer since then, and it's always done well. Whether it's a at-home board, they did the Flyer 2 as a travel complement. There was a Flyer F, and then now there's the new Flyer. But it's always been one of, if not the best-selling shortboard in Channel Islands lineup. This board specifically, everybody on the CI team or any like devout CI follower puts it in their quiver because it always works. It's always a good go-to board, especially in average conditions is when most people use it. The key on this board is a lot of the pro-driven boards have a continuous rocker, and some of them pretty extreme throughout the entire board. So you're having to be turning the board all the time and have it on a rail all the time in order to keep it going. If the waves aren't all that great and there's a lot of flat, bumped up sections on it, having a flat section through the center of the board allows the board to be flattened out and ridden flat and glide through sections of the wave and maintain speed. So as soon as you stop turning, it won't slow down. There's a lot of built-in glide through that flatter section in the rocker line, and just forgiveness. So if you miss one of your turns, the board doesn't come to a grinding halt. So in those conditions that if you're just getting a little bit dull in the head or you're tired, this board helps you quite a bit. Also, if there's just not a lot of built-in drive in the wave, like if the wave doesn't have so much power that you're bleeding power, you need to make a lot of power. This board is going to help with that rocker line. With the extra foam, it's got a little bit wider nose. It's got more foam through the nose and under the chest, a good amount of it. And then also it carries that width back to the signature CI hip, which is always right here. That was one of Al's biggest things. And one of the things actually that put him on the map is the bump squash, is like the signature CI bump squash. So you can see right here, actually a little bit easier to see from the bottom, right here. You can see it carries that width all the way to here and then bumps in to a pretty wide squash tail. So what that does is it gives you a nice elbow in the outline, a good pivot point to turn off of, but it also keeps that wider part of the board and all that extra foam and all that extra lift, it keeps it for a longer distance. So rather than it peaking out here and then going to a narrower board, it peaks out here and then continues wide and then elbows in. So you get a little bit more pivotal turn off of that curve, and then you also get wider through a longer section of the board. This board comes with, you can either get a tri or 5. On this particular board, this board that I'm holding here doesn't have the CI boxes. This one has FCS Fusion. A lot of the boards will be coming with the new CI box as well, the new 2-tab box, which is FCS compatible. Also, it has a unidirectional carbon strip on this one. What this strip does is it stiffens up the board flex a little bit in the center of the board, which allows the tail to flex more. When you really load this board up with this carbon strip, you're really able to flex the tail quite a bit and make the turns more pivotal when you need them to be. So the Flyer, shape-wise, what they change, it's just all the lines are a little bit smoother compared to the preceding Flyers that have been out there. And then also the dimensions are all shorter. They're all a little bit shorter and a little bit wider per their length. And then there's a standard set of dimensions and a plus set of dimensions. So you can really dial in the size board that's going to fit not only your height and weight, but also your surfing style and how long you like to have your boards per their volume. So the new Flyer from Channel Islands, check it out at Real. Any questions, give us a call.